academics. So with all these challenges, scaffolding becomes even more challenging. So then I decided I will be the dummy. So this is the course I teach, obstetrics and gynec sonography. That's one of the courses I teach, and there are a few other electives I teach here. But basically I said, let's start with this one, and then I'll build it at a level of RSD level 3, and then use that as a model, and then accordingly others can then adapt and scaffold in their courses. So all this was done. So we started work in December after Christmas, because we had to finish all the exam marking and results and all that, and by January we had it all set up and we rolled it out in February. So this is not a process I would recommend to anyone. This is just the way we did it. Okay, so I don't want anybody feeling overwhelmed thinking, you know, it's all this has to be done, because it does take a lot of time. So the way I did it with my course was, because we have, you know, they're all sonographers working externally, and what we basically want sonographers to be able to diagnose abnormalities and pathology correctly, because they are frontline, and if they miss the diagnosis, even for example serious life-threatening problems like an ectopic pregnancy or things like that, you know, or a serious anomaly in the baby like a major spina bifida or one of those things, then it will be missed completely and it will not be picked up by the radiologist, and that will have serious consequences for the patients. So we had to make sure that they learn how to problem solve, how they learn to interpret images, gather history correctly, and all those sort of skills. So basically they are employing research skills to be able to do all that. So I made RSD very explicit in the form of, you know, a virtual classroom. So I run a lot of virtual classroom sessions, just like we're doing now, you know, webinars type of thing, but it's very interactive and it's a flipped classroom approach. So this is one of the slides from one of my classes, and you can see some student interaction happening there. So so I did make it explicit, say what's the research skills development framework. You start with a body of knowledge, and then you have to get to a certain level of knowledge to be able to diagnose and things like that. So, and I went through all the different facets and just explain what they actually have to do in a practical scenario. For example, they have to gather history correctly, then go and find the data or think about the theory behind the whole thing, and then learn to, you know, make sense of the data they've gathered, and then present it in a sensible way to the radiologist or to their supervisor and things like that. So each facet was broken down explicitly into the actual tasks they perform, and that's in the clinical environment. But then what we actually did was, you know, we all had rewritten our case, you know, our assignments to have case studies of one form or the other. So then, for example, then, you know, this is an abnormal image, and I would give a certain question, and so you can see the RSD pentagon here, and I'm going through all these different stages here. So we use the same format, and we developed rubrics. So the marking rubrics actually does the same thing in the academic side of things. So and this was the basic pass level was at an RSD level 3. And then anything above and beyond, they would get a credit distinction or high distinction, but the basic pass level, they had to be at an RSD level 3 for this particular assignment. And this sort of approach kind of helped scaffold. So then the courses before this course, for example, if I go back, so if I say obs and gynae here, these people are scanning here, so they have to have this level of knowledge and skills at RSD level 3. And there are these other specialized courses like vascular sonography and MSK, musculoskeletal as well. And they would all have to come up with comparable research skills, so at an RSD level 3. And because we had written, you know, the assignments in some format or the other of case studies. For example, I do posters with obs and gynae, with superficial parts. We use e-portfolio assignments. So it's all in different ways, but they are case studies. Whereas with musculoskeletal, there is some research appraisal of some journal articles, and they've got to discuss it with supervisors, and, you know, so all in different formats. So once because we knew what our assignments were going to be, it was then easier to develop rubrics. So this was my first rubric, and as I said, I was the dummy. So I used, so then we had at least 2 program meetings where I made this initial rubric, I made a draft, and I invited my colleagues to just tear it apart and just go through, just nitpicking each and everything. And then we kind of, not perfect, but almost, the final version was prepared. And then that became a template for all other courses. And then it was easier for others to then tweak their own rubrics to align with RSD's level 1, 2, and 3, and so on. And what we did was, so we've got rubrics now for all our courses, which I've mentioned, and also we encourage students to use these rubrics to self-assess their work before they submit, so they know what criteria they're expected to meet to get good grades, and so they can examine their own learning and decide how much effort is required to get a high grade. And also it's helpful when they get feedback from their supervisor, because it's more, it's clearer. And also we got some good feedback from our markers as well, because there was a lot of consistency now even across markers. So so that was quite a useful thing we found as well. So then, so that's about the research skills development, which rubrics across, the program. So every course has got its own, and I'm now working on this, this RSD level 6 rubric, which I have to create, but these are all ready. Haven't made rubrics for these research courses yet, because I didn't think that was a priority as much. We were focusing more on the clinical skills, and we'll get to those research ones a bit later. So it's still work in progress. Then the other thing which we did was also we looked at work skills development rubric. So as sonographers, as part of our program, they are required to obtain 2,200 hours of supervised clinical training, which comes to about 3 days a week over a period of 2 years at the very minimum. And these people work in workplaces, and we do not provide placements, so students have to find their own placement. And because our program is external, we have students training all over the country as well as overseas as well. So you can imagine it's a big challenge keeping track of all these, the monitoring progress for all these people across, diverse geographical locations as well. So what we then did was and also we found that a lot of people were then losing training positions because they were probably not performing well with even their professional capabilities like initiative and enterprise and those self-management and those sort of skills, which we used to call them as soft skills earlier, and we used to be so focused on clinical competencies and technical and cognitive skills, and we really hadn't paid much attention to skills like communication and all these other things which are so important and which have been articulated so well with work skills development framework. So that was the reason why we thought work skills development framework is an excellent way to go to monitor clinical placements. So then the other bit of work we did last semester was we developed clinical milestones. These are compulsory formative clinical milestones, and so students have to submit and this is we developed rubric again, and so it's a very detailed rubric, a 14-page long rubric, because I've used it to align with our accreditation guidelines for sonographers as well as the ASA code of conduct, and we did find it quite adaptable. So of course we used initiative, enterprise, reflection, evaluation, etc. as outlined in the work skills development framework, but then we also use that framework to develop competencies for clinical and technical side of things from areas which need significant room for development to novice, advanced, beginner and competent. Because when they come to their final course, if I go back a few slides, So if I come back here, so this course, Clinical Sonography Portfolio course, that is where people come on campus and we examine all of them. We do OSCE exams, and they also have tutor assessments and things like that. So those are all summative, high-stakes assessments. And that was the only thing we were doing until last semester, really. And so problems were identified quite late, and supervisors were flagging things very late, almost just before results, and they would call up and say, oh, we think this student should fail, but on paper they would have passed everything else. So those are the kinds of things we thought we need to target and address all along the program, which is why then we came up with this strategy of having formative assessments all along. And so it's almost like a, not only feedback, but it's constructive, because it's what we've got is the same rubric is used as a self-assessment tool, and then the tutor assessment also is done using the same tool, and then they both have to sit together, have a conversation, come up with an action plan for improvement, and set new goals, so that we hope they meet, from 400, we hope they meet it, in 800 or so on. So, and then they have to inform us if there's no progress or there's no improvement, because that's then, we would have it's still early, so we can probably help out with some sort of support or remediation, or, maybe additional conversations, or in some way or the other. So this is new. And this was something we did last semester, although this is not using work skills development framework. This is a clinical progress report which people have to submit before, at the end of each of these courses. So that's pretty much what we've done with work skills development framework. And this is still work in progress, as I said, so we are still in the process of developing a few rubrics, but I am so grateful to our SA cluster and John for helping me with refining my own thinking as well, and of course my wonderful sonography team, without whose cooperation this would not have been possible.